I need to take because I can't even get ahead. And then like, do you reach a certain threshold and then you're like, okay, now I can give? Or do you need to go and give first? And how do you balance that when it seems so much like, oh, I don't even have enough to give?
That's so powerful. You, you know, everybody says, when I make it, I will give.
Yeah.
And the secret is when you give, then you make it. So the companies that are most successful when they're in that startup phase is because they're really trying to give back to the customer. They're thinking about how to solve a problem. They're creating a great product and they're putting their heart and soul behind it. Something happens along the way where you make it about what you can get, what you can receive, and that's when they start to degrade the product, degrade the marketing, cut corners. And that's when companies energetically begin to fail. Like customers can feel when your product's on a shelf, they look at the product and they feel the aura, whether they realize it or not. The best marketing is when you go back to headquarters and the energy of the founder is one of giving, it transfers to the product on the shelf. So people feel that and that's why they buy it. They don't know why they trust the brand. They don't know why they like it, but they grab it off the shelf because they feel something. Everything is about making the customer feel something, and it starts with the founder's intention to want to share, not to take. And what's interesting, this piece of our company we sold 3 years ago, MaryRuth and I actually decided a month ago we want to buy it back. So we went and raised 3 times the amount and put all our chips back in to rebuy back the whole company. I'm telling you, Jason, like no founder in our position, and by the way, everyone said it was the stupidest thing that a founder can do. Like now is the time you exit, you get that ginormous payday and you move on with your life, right? We said there's nothing more fulfilling than actually running this brand and doing it for the consumer. So we actually went and raised the money, leveraged debt, just so we could run it the way we want to run it for the consumer. It's more fulfilling. It's more risky, but we kind of know where this ends if we don't do it this way.
Which kind of brings me to the fact you're already alluding to it. It sounds like there's always some great firms that go up, they get big, and then there's almost like a dilution or something that gets lost in the process. Oftentimes, as you said, the energy of the founder maybe not being there, but you've seen companies go through these cycles, and there's almost like we talked about the original problem, which is like at the beginning, you feel like you need to get so much before you can start giving. And then there's a part of a business that was giving, which is like, now that we've given so much, we should take. And that almost seems to be the second obstacle or the second challenge that comes up in the business cycle, isn't it?
Right. As soon as you take, and by the way, you can receive, right? There's nothing wrong with receiving in order to share. But when that crosses the threshold of being a taker, like if you would be embarrassed if everybody knew what you just did, that's a sign that you shouldn't do it. And I'll give you some behind the scenes. Like I interviewed 50 private equity firms before we picked one because their philosophy, and they weren't even the highest number, their philosophy was, we are going to stay out of your way, but give you all the support you need because we believe in the magic of the founders. And they were incredible partners, but I'm part of a little CEO group. And this is kind of the behind the scenes stuff that I see all the time. I'm on a text group with 10 other founders. Each of them have scaled their own company to over $100 million, mostly without funding. They are the best of the best. And these are people in their 20s or 30s or maybe early 40s. And the ones that have taken investments or have friends who have, and we talk about it daily, they're in pain because they see how investment firms can come in and take the magic of the founder away. And there's a degradation that happens because you have a taking consciousness. So for whoever is listening, it's easier to be a giver in the beginning because you're trying to build something and you want to add value to the world. But there's going to become a point, a fork in the road where it's going to become more about you and not the customer. And you got to pass that test. You got to always make it about the customer. Always. The customer always wins. That's the secret of Amazon. That's the secret of Tesla. It's always about what's going to be better for the customer, even if it's more expensive, even if it's difficult. You always win that way.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.